What's up, everybody? Ben Reza here for Stokastic, and it's the PGA Championship, which means it's time to talk some golf. We're going to break down the entire field. I'm going to talk about the course. I'm going to talk about the players. I'm going to showcase our tools, talk about what else is going on, find some angles, hopefully, to make us a boatload of money, because that is the trick. There's a ton of it up for grabs in the DFS streets across all the sites. Let's talk about it. I do want to welcome you into Stokastic. Maybe you come here all the time, checking out other sports. Maybe you come here for PGA. Either way, it is appreciated. If you're new to the site, take a look around, see what we got going on. Again, it's all tools, breakdown strategy to be a better DFS player, and most importantly, make ourselves a little money. I'm not going to waste a ton of time here because we've got a ton to get to. It's the second major of the season, the PGA Championship. I'll be honest, it's my least favorite of the four, but this year I am super excited to see this. I like Valhalla, the course that they're going to. I like this field. I like this position in the calendar. I think the PGA is stepping up, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So let's dive into some things. First things first. No, I'm not. I am going to bring up the players, but we'll get there in a second. Before we talk to the players, let's talk about the course, because you can't, really break down everything that you want to if you don't know what skill set you may want to attack. I'm always an advocate of not just stacking skill sets, but at least visualizing what do we need? What could be the theme of this course? So Valhalla is a long par 71, 7,600 yards. That's a beast. How difficult is it going to play? I think that's more up for debate, to be honest. The rough is really long if you really spray it, but we've seen kind of that intermediate cut, variations. Doesn't look as punishing. In terms of the weather, it seems like it's going to rain a ton, but Thursday should be ideal scoring conditions. And we're going to talk about how to potentially exploit that in just a few minutes over at Underdog. But right now, I'm just treating it pretty straight up weather-wise. I think there could be some stoppages, some delays. Of course, may play a little longer, could be a little softer, and they could attack. I think guys will be able to score. You've got a drivable par 4. You've got 3 par 5s to really attack. Again, there's some long holes. There's no doubt about it. There's some serious tests. You've got, 500-yard par 4s. That seems quite difficult. But at the same time, you need to be able to ball strike anytime you're in a major championship. That's not going to change here. So, what are the big takeaways from Valhalla? One, driving distance is not going to hurt you. In fact, it certainly may help. If you want to comp this to Quail, if you want to comp this to Riviera, if you want to comp this to Muirfield Village, all of those type of courses, Olympia Fields, I think you need to drive the ball well. It doesn't have to be pure bombing, but it would help. Total driving is a stat you could look to. Obviously, ball striking. But then we start to get into the classic. I want good drivers who can hit good irons, but if they miss, they're good scramblers. And then, of course, I want a good putter. Well, that sounds like a pretty damn good golfer. If you have that, just play those guys. Most of them don't exist. You have to take the skill sets where you can find them. For me, I'm going to put an emphasis on long irons, driving distance. I don't think around the green is going to be massive. Maybe I'll stack some of those skill sets. Putting is putting. I think the greens will roll pretty fast. Maybe the water will slow them down. Again, it's a major championship field, the best of the best, and then we get the live guys. I'm not as concerned with a gimmicky skill set because I think this is just a pretty fair test of golf. I expect guys to be able to score. You have to take advantage of the par 5, so par 5 scoring could factor in. But overall, you want to play some good players, and that's what we're about to figure out. So let's see what we can do with the top of the board, and then I will get into, I think, a little way to not exploit, but find some edges, particularly in round 1. But we'll start with the top tier right now. So we brought up the Stokastic Data Hub. Again, one of the many things we got going on. I'll talk about that as well. Scotty Scheffler leads us off at 13,200. Why not? Just make him 17,000 where you can't even put him into a lineup. That would make my life a lot easier. He's on fire. He had a baby. Congratulations. His numbers are ridiculous. He's won. I mean, this doesn't even make sense. First, second, first, in his last 5. Okay. Just automatic. The putting hasn't been as bad. And now when he puts even remotely good, he just wins. Following up the Masters with a win at Heritage was ridiculous. He gained another 12.5 tee to green. We know Scheffler. We know Rory. Both of them are playing comically good golf right now. Rory's coming off back-to-back wins in his own right, where Scheffler wasn't playing, of course. He won at Quail Hollow. He won the team event. At Wells Fargo, Rory was vintage Rory, dominant, dominant off the tee. He gained over 6 strokes off the tee. His ball striking was pure. He putted well. He gained across the board, and he hunted Xander down. It's no surprise to see these two as the favorites in the odds board. Obviously, their prices make it very difficult to. I don't even know if you can build with them together. I'm not going to entertain that. Good starting points. Obviously, we'll see what ownership comes in at. It'll refresh and update as we go along. Again, it is available. It's just a column that I'm not showing right now. It's over here somewhere. What do we've got? Yeah, 24 and 22. But again, that's going to update as we get more and more info closer to lock. So you've got them two. You've got Rahm, Xander, Brooks, Abear, and Morikawa and Cantlay. So a lot of 10K plus options here. Let's sift through them a little bit. You've got a couple live guys in Brooks and Rahm. You've got Xander, who's playing good golf but can't seem to win. Abear, who's nursing a knee. And then you got Morikawa and Cantlay, who I think is playing the worst of all of them. I kind of like Rahm, to be honest, if you want to go against the grain. Of course, there's some unknowns with the live guys, not in terms of just how they're playing, but even, are the reps the same? Is the form the same? We saw Rahm at the Masters and he did not look great. He really didn't contend at all, but it's one tournament. It's 4 rounds. I don't think we need to overreact to anything like that. If you want to be a little different, I think Rahm is a natural starting point in tournaments to leverage because I'd assume most people are going to click Scotty or Rory. And if they don't, they'll go very balanced. I think the dead range will be Rahm, Morikawa, Cantlay. Brooks will get some love. It's Brooks. There's no doubt about it. And Xander is playing really good golf, consistently good golf. And I do think that he may be a pairing 2 guys above him if you want to go stars and scrubs. Rory Xander, Scheffler Xander, even Rahm Xander, which I think is a pretty interesting build. Not a lot of people are going to do that. So this is the best players in the world. Not super actionable up here. If you're playing a bunch of lineups, I think you're going to have a healthy portfolio. If you sim out using our simulations, you're going to get a lot of these guys in there. The top 6 percentages, going to be pretty high. Let's see the leverage. Let's just take a peek at leverage. I'm going to actually bring this over so we can see it. This is what we can do again. It makes my life a lot easier. These things can and will change, but it's not bad to have a glimpse of them. Leverage, again, Rory's getting a lot of love. We got Rahm as the leverage, and that makes sense to me. It doesn't mean that he's just going to be the best play, but I do think all in all, you could get some under the radar leverage on a guy like Rahm just because he's in a huge opportunity cost. He's in an isolated price range, $500 to Xander, $600 to Rory. That is kind of interesting. Morikawa and Cantlay, I'm kind of neutral on. Abear, I'm okay with. I don't think the injury is a massive deal, but I also don't think it's nothing. This is a guy that has the off the tee game to clearly contend. This is a guy that doesn't need experience. He was second at the Masters. He followed up with 10th at Heritage. You hope everything's good to go because I'd love to see him at the height of his powers and off the tee. He is ridiculous. So no doubt that you can make a case for Abear as well. I want to scroll down to the second part of the top range, but I think there's no better time to mention one of the ways, as I said, there's so many ways to get exposure this week, and Underdog Fantasy is just another way. If you haven't been over to Underdog, first of all, come on in. Awesome site, doing really cool things. You're projecting, higher or lower on various categories for all these different sports. You can string them together and get that multiplier payout. I'll actually bring it up on the screen. Why not? Underdog, here you go. And I actually have golf up because I was just building one out, and you've got these type of things. So for round run, Rory, look at these options. You can go over, under, or higher or lower on his strokes, his finishing position, birdies are better, all these type of guys. For me, I think with the soft conditions, you could build something out with some correlation that guys are going to go low. So Rory under or lower than his strokes. You've got Justin Thomas lower than 70 and a half strokes. And then I got a little dangerous with Bryson higher than a half an eagle. So take advantage of one of the par fives, please, or just hole out for me. Put that together. I mean, you're talking about big time payouts. You have the flex structure, the standard structure. I know I'm just breezing through this. If you want to learn more about Underdog, definitely see what we've got going on and sign on up. They are offering a really, really enticing for first time depositors 50% match up to $250. So if you put in $500, you're getting $250 on top of it. Obviously, you can do less. But the link is below to sign on up to Underdog, a really good opportunity and one that I definitely would advise taking advantage of. So if you have any questions on that, always let us know. And last thing from Underdog, they've got a free square style thing, higher than a half a stroke for Scheffler. Yeah. So you come on in, new customer special just to welcome people in. There's a lot of good things going on at Underdog. Again, the link is below to take advantage. Now, let's get back to the board and see what we can do, see what we can find. We've got Cam Smith. Uh-oh. This is where it always gets dangerous for me. Not there, but Cam Smith, Max Homa, Bryson, Wyndham Clark, these type of players for me get very, very tricky because I look and I say, okay, are they a starting point? Not really. Are they someone that I'm looking to put as my second man in? Not really, to be honest. So is it a dead range? And then you start to say, okay, if I cut out this range, and apologies as I center this up for everyone so we can see, I really find myself looking at it and saying, okay, I'm probably going north of them to Morikawa to Cantlay, or I'm going to start in the lower 9K range. So I don't want to gloss over Cam Smith, Max Homa, and Bryson, and even Wyndham Clark, because I think there is some utility there. They grade out pretty neutral. It's more for me some skill set things. Max Homa is the most interesting. He's got obviously a Quail Hollow comp. He seems to play better in tough environments. He is not intimidated by strong fields. He's certainly not intimidated by long, difficult, challenging courses. The big question for him was, well, he can't get it done in the majors. How about a third at Augusta? He broke through there. I think it's just a matter of time before he starts peppering the board with top tens and maybe even hoisting a trophy in a major. So absolutely on board with them. Obviously, Bryson's got the off the tee. Wyndham Clark, same thing. Joaquin Niemann, I bet him. I want to be honest, 40-1 in the outright market. Again, you can see all that on Odd Chopper. Grades out as positive leverage. He is playing fantastic golf. Now it's on live. The guy is dealing though. There's no doubt about it. Uh, I like him. I think I'm not going to start there, but second man in, him and JT, I think are both very interesting for different reasons. Justin Thomas, it's been a, it's, has it been an off year? I don't know. You tell me. It hasn't been great, but it's not a disaster either. I mean, the guy's got what, 5 top 10s? He was 3rd at Amex, 6th at Pebble. He was 5th at Heritage, 12th at API, 12th at Waste Management. Yeah, he missed the cut at the Players and the Masters, so he's got to be better there in the biggest events. There's no doubt about it. Mostly putting centric, though. He's been putting like garbage. Needs to flip that. He's got a couple PGAs on the resume already. Of course, it's a rotational course. I don't think that means much. But at the same time, I expect JT to be ready to play. Another guy that I'm not sure I'm going to start with, but I'm picturing my lineups pairing one of Scheffler, Rory, Rahm with one of these guys, or going like Xander and then 2 of these guys potentially, if I can squeeze that in. You've got Hovland, who, if you weigh off the around the green, you're not going to get to. But other than that, if you weigh driving distance or anything like that, could be sneaky. Will Z, Cam Young. This is 2 guys that I was going to keep going. Now I stopped myself because Willsey and Cam Young both are serious firepower with the driver. Cam Young, 5 good showings in majors and 11 starts. You're talking about a guy that's been a walking top 10 in majors. Yes, he's looking for his first career win, not first career major, first career win on the PGA Tour. But a lot of guys would kill for his major resume. When you're talking about 5 top 10s in majors this early, that's serious business. And you could say the same thing about Will Z. Big thing about Will Z, the big question, is he hurt? I don't know. I'm treating him that he's okay. And I think he's someone that I'm very comfortable with too. So when I look at the 9K range, it's the bottom for me. JT, Cam Young, Will Z, Neiman, more so than Cam Smith, Bryson, Wyndham Clark, and those type of names. Let's keep it going. Let's go to the mid-range and see what we've got here with Fitzy, Spieth, Fleetwood, Hideki. He's back. He withdrew last week. I'm playing him straight up. I think he's a good DraftKings play. I like the spot. I know he doesn't grade out his great leverage, but to me, he's a boom bust option. And again, these numbers, they will continue to marinate and mature as we get closer to lock. Sam Burns, Shane Lowry, Finau, Hatton, Thigala, DJ, and Reed. Couple of live guys at the bottom. You've got Tony. You've got Burns grades out well. Again, I think the softer it plays and the easier it plays. If Sam Burns can score, that's more his speed than someone that I picture in a very brutal, difficult condition. I like him when he really has the opportunity to score. He was 13th at Wells Fargo last week. He gained nearly 3 strokes off the tee. Putting, off the tee, the combo. It works. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But Sam Burns is definitely someone that I think belongs in the pool. Hatton, I don't know what to make of. DJ and Reed, I think, are just tournament plays, ownership dependent. If we get very, very low ownership, if they come up in my sim runs, I'll be more than happy to do that, not actively forcing them in. I'm going to short Thigala. It could burn me. He does not grade out well right now. He is someone that his abilities off the tee are positive and negative in the sense that he really does gain, and it's with distance, but at times he can get himself into a lot of trouble. And around the green, at times, can get himself into a lot of trouble. Now, his putter is really strong. His off the tee game is really strong, and he's a good player. There's no doubt. He finds his way through. Hasn't missed a cut since Sony. That was in early January. I mean, the guy has been really good. He made the cut the Masters. He was 9th at the Players, 6th at API, runner up at Heritage. More technical tracks than this. This is an absolute brute and a beast. You can't play everybody. I'm shorting Thigala. I would rather have certainly Burns, Decky, Finau, even some of the live guys, but they're not a priority either. Let's keep it moving. Scrolling down. Again, just shows the depth of these fields. I mean, you're talking about 7K golfers in Sunjay, in Jason Day, in my man Benny On, who's playing awesome. Kind of crazy that he's 7,800 in a major, but it's warranted. He's playing really quality golf. And this is a range, I think no matter what build you have, you're probably going to land here more often than not. If you go stars and scrubs, this is probably going to be on the bottom of the lineup, maybe that intermediate 4th or 5th guy. If you go balanced, this could be towards the top and you have 2 or 3 of these guys. Looking at the board, I like Jason Day. 7,900. He's playing good golf. He had a good showing last week. He's someone that can get himself into trouble off the tee, there's no doubt. But if he keeps it relatively stable, the around the green and putting combo is back. At Wells Fargo, and again, it's just one event, gained across the board, but he gained 5 strokes around the green and another 4 putting. Not overly sustainable, but Day, when he was at his best, was an elite putter, one of the best in the world. He was 30th at Augusta. He was 9th at Genesis. I like to see that. He's a good, solid play at 7,900. If you don't want to play him, you definitely have pivots. Benny On, I'm buying right in. I know he might be a little overowned and a little popular. I would try to be cognizant of that in Benny On builds, make sure that I've appropriately leveraged. But he's just playing unbelievable. He's 4th at Byron Nelson, 3rd at Wells Fargo. He is amongst the number 1 player on tour in driving distance lately. The guy is absolutely smashing the ball. His off the tee game has been elite. He has lost strokes off the tee once since February. His putter comes and goes, but it used to just be goes. At least now he has some upside with the putter. He has been better lately. I think he makes a lot of sense here too. This is a range where I definitely see myself pairing a couple of guys that are on the screen right now. As we scroll down, you kind of sort them out. For this is how I do it. I sort them like Tom Kim. Certainly the distance could be an issue, but iron's good. You've got Siwoo, Minwoo Lee. I never have a good read on him. Doesn't grade out really favorably, but he's just indifferent. Corey Connors, someone who's going to gain off the tee without being overly long. If you want to lean on irons, always a staple in majors. A lot of people use them. Corey Connors for cash a lot. Reliable. He makes cuts. Kind of knows what he's doing. Sepp Straka's playing fantastic golf as well. That's a name that I've seen in some of the outright markets. Totally get it. 16th, 5th, and 8th in his last 3, and those are at the Masters, Wells Fargo. No problems with just continuing to buy on a guy who's clearly in form. Gooch is in the middle. He came over. He's been, his live comments and whatnot. He's a talented player. There's no doubt about it. I think ownership will tell the tale for me when I run my sims. Again, all part of what we've got going on here at Stokastic. If he comes up, I might manually boost him a little bit, but I'm not overly where I'm just going to omit him from the pool or anything. I prefer Straka and I prefer Connors, but I also believe that the field does as well. Scrolling down, Harmon, Hoygaard, Ricky's here, Adam Scott, Henley, Noren, Bhatia, Jaeger, Keegan, Burmeister, Shank to round out the sevens. You got a lot of different names here. If you're just going straight by leverage, Hoygaard grades out really well. You've got Bhatia with slight positive leverage. You've got Keegan with slight positive leverage. I like Keegan. He's a good driver of the ball. He's a long time ago, but he's won big tournaments. He putts at times. PGA is a perfect type of setup for him. And he hasn't been overly, his 2024, when you look at it, not bad at all. Kind of doing what Keegan does. Some missed cuts, some near wins, second at Sony, 22nd at the Masters, 21st at Wells Fargo last week. Irons have been good. Putter has been bad. What Keegan Bradley does. You're talking about a guy, 7,100, you make the cut. We're in business. Burmeister, playing fantastic golf over on Live. For those that are not aware, another long hitter of the ball. Fits a lot of builds. Don't think he will be that sneaky, but he's someone to keep in mind. I'm going to go up for a second, though, to Adam Scott and Alex Noren. Alex Noren's my guy. Watching this video, and you've watched me for a while, first of all, it's appreciated. Second of all, I can't quit Alex Noren. The guy's playing great golf. I'm just going to rattle it off. Since March, 9th, 19th, 11th, 14th, 23rd, 3rd, and 24th. It's been positive tee to green in every single one of those starts. What's not to like? Yes, this is a step up from Corrales or Valero or those type of tournaments, but good golf is good golf. And the price reflects it. He's a good scrambler. Hold it together off the tee, and we're going to be just fine there. Adam Scott, consistent, shows up, knows what he's doing. 73, could be a cash value. Made 5 straight cuts. Not giving me the upside that I've wanted, that we want to see. But, these 22nd, 29th type finishes, they can be very pertinent and very important in lineups if you've got some full send guys. You pair him. I'm not saying you have to pair him with Bryson, but he comes to mind where Bryson's like, you could win the tournament going away, and then you just want consistency. You can take some shots around a guy like Adam Stott. I put him in the Corey Connors bucket of pretty reliable in a sport. Really, there's no such thing as reliable. So before we crash into the 6K range and the 5K range and the value plays, I want to make sure you guys are aware of everything we've got going on here at Stokastic and, of course, at OddsShopper if you like to bet. What I'm using right now is our data hub. Super easy. It's all part of the Stokastic PGA package. You get this. It feeds into the sims. This is just the data portion. Powerful stuff. You've seen the screenshots. You've seen the leaderboards. The tools that we are using here, they really do make the difference. They're customizable. They're simplistic. And most importantly, for someone like me that had a process that I've used for years, they didn't unwind everything I did. They just added to it. So you're here. Definitely worth checking out. The link is below. Click it, read about it, and see the tools in action. We'd love to have you as part of the team. We want these tools in the hands of everybody to make sure you have the opportunities that the members here at Stokastic have. It's been a great time. It's been a fun year. Come on in and test it out. PGA Championship, no better time. All sorts of packages available at Stokastic. But no matter what you're using to build, we got to find some salary savers, and that's what we're here to do. Chris Kirk. Justin Rose is playing very, very, very bad golf. Not going to do that. Matthew Pavone, talk about bad golf. Unfortunately, last week, it wasn't good. Tiger, glad he's here. Not going to play him. Aaron Rye, Maronk, Keith Mitchell, Bez, Cameron Davis. All right. Well, we're going to start with Bez, my guy. Not good off the tee relative to what you might need at Valhalla. But the game relative to the range is very good. Great putter. Great putter. He has gained strokes putting in every single event since Genesis back in February. He has gained 6 straight around the green. Putting around the green, that type of mentality, that type of skill set, it can translate. There's no doubt about it. Now, if you lose 5 strokes off the tee, we're in big trouble. If you gain 0 strokes off the tee, we could be in business. And I think that Bez is playing really, really good golf. 6,600, really nice price point. And you've got names down here. Cam Davis, if you think it plays easier, really can score. Uh, Kurt Kitayama, boom bust. We've seen him tackle very legitimate fields. He's come over here. He's won. You want him to be a tournament type guy, last man in. I get it. Better off the tee and with the approach than around the green and putting. More of a ball striker than anything else. It starts to get thin down here. Again, you're not going to see a lot of ownership. But you're also not going to see a lot of players that don't have some red flags, and that's just kind of what we have to embrace here. Hollywood Hoagie, ball striker. Ryan Fox, obviously got some skills off the tee. Denny McPutts, elite putter. Jake Knapp. This is a name. He first of all positive leverage, which you always like to see even early. I'm filming this early on a Wednesday. Jake Knapp's doing some things. I actually think he sets up pretty well. He can mash the ball when he needs to. 8th at Byron, made the cut at Wells Fargo, made the cut at the Masters, made the cut at the Players. 4th at the Classic, 1 in Mexico, 28th at Waste Management, 3rd at Farmers, gained across the board there. This guy can play. You're talking about a price point of $6,300. Not going to be super popular. And it seems like he's actually built for some of these conditions. Now, majors and whatnot, he doesn't have a ton of experience there, but he did go to Augusta and find his way through. I like that Farmers data point quite a bit. Wells Fargo, he was great off the tee and awful with the approach. So we have to dig into that a little more. But when you're talking about a flyer at this level, I think Knapp, it really interests me a lot more than guys like, Detry, Billy Ho. Taylor Moore's playing good golf. Nick Taylor, Phil. And then the last guy on the screen, I think is my favorite of the, what do we got, 9 names on here right now? It's Taylor Pendrith. Taylor Pendrith was of course, not to complain, but was betting Taylor Pendrith basically all year. In March, January, he didn't play much in February, but then he wins just a couple months too late. He's playing great golf. He was 11th at Corrales. Then he won at Byron Nelson. Follows it up with a 10th at Wells Fargo. His putter is elite right now. Off the tee is extremely strong. He is playing really good golf, and this is a price point at flat 6. I mean, he's going to be your last man in, 5th man in if you're going extremely aggressive. I like this quite a bit. I think that Pendrith is one of my favorite pay down options. He's got the right skill set. He's got the recent form. The price hasn't, I'm not going to say adjusted because I don't think it's a misprice per se. It's just a spot that I'm willing to get to at flat 6. And when you look at the names around him, not a huge opportunity cost for me. We're about to crash into the 5K range, which it gets triple dangerous at this point. Lucas Bear Woodland, CT Pan, okay, Maverick, Bobby Mack. I mean, these are names, but you're down here for a reason. On a macro level, it's just spotty form, game not in great shape. Mackenzie Hughes is someone I always like to highlight because his skill set is pretty unique. He is in the Bez, Spieth, Jason Day, really crafty. If you think it's absolutely wild and guys are going to be missing greens all over the place, Mackenzie Hughes gets a big bump. If you think it's a pure iron contest, off the tee contest, I'm not sure that Mackenzie Hughes is where I want to go. You've got Bo Hostler, Puig, Dunlap, EVR, another strong off the tee player. Obviously, he's had his moments this year and really re-energized the game. Got her up, speaking of re-energizing the game. Down here, though, not a ton that stands out. Matt Wallace at 57. Let's dig into Matt Wallace a little bit. We're going to do this on the fly. He's someone I didn't look at a ton, but he just kind of caught my eye just now. Off the tee, just knowing Matt Wallace is probably the big issue, and it is. Yeah, he was 4th at Byron Nelson. Bad before that. Okay, yeah, it's about you're getting what you get. Crafty, can get hot with the irons. Probably gets eaten alive off the tee if you're putting an emphasis there. Not sure that's where I want to go, but you could do worse in the 5s. And then we're about to fall off the cliff. We've got Luke List and Griot, my guys. Hubbard, Smalley, KH Lee. I mean, you have some players here. Patrick Rogers is probably a name that will get some interest just because of the way he plays at times. He's got that ability off the tee, and he's got that putting combination. Off the tee and putting is a formula that has worked for a lot of players. Patrick Rogers being one of them. Now, the breakthrough, in a big-time tournament has not come, but 5th at Heritage, 29th at Wells Fargo last week. He gained off the tee in 3 straight. Putting comes and goes. The irons have been bad. He has lost in 8 of 9 tournaments with the irons. That does make it really difficult. But if you're saying, you know what, he can mask some of that off the tee and then he can mask even more of it by making the putts, I get what you're doing there. We have officially crossed over to the portion of the show where I don't know who the players are. No offense to Tim Whiting, Ryo and Kanaya, Doug Gim, Thorborn, the Thunder Bears down here. I have one name that I do want to mention, and it's right here. Jordan L. Smith. This is a guy that I think has some really interesting angles. First of all, he's been well traveled. He's been playing all over the place, but the DP World Tour, playing quality golf. He's getting in reps. He's got major experience. So he's made 3 of the last 4 cuts over the last 2 years in the majors that he was in. Made it at the Open, the US Open, then the Open again. He missed at the PGA Championship. He has a top 10 in a major. It's going way back, and it happened to be at a PGA Championship, and it actually happened to be at Quail Hollow, which I do like to see. And this is a guy off the tee. I think he can hang in there. He's got a putting combination that can work. He's just a pretty well-rounded player. He knows what he's doing. This is a big step up for him. But when you're talking about 5,500, you're down there with a lot of guys that I don't think have much of a shot. I think Jordan L. Smith deserves to be in the pool. I think you could say the same thing about Thunder Bear if you want to. But I like Jordan Smith this week. It's not someone I'm going to jam in, but when I run my sims, again, you make your pool, you simulate, and you see what you get. I hope he shows up, and if he doesn't, I'll probably give a little boost to him and see if we can get him into some of my lineups, because I absolutely think that he belongs in the pool this week, and there is a chance that he is my last man in, because I don't have much to say down here. There's another Svensson. A second Svensson. Okay. Alexander Bjork. Don't think he can hang it off the tee. I do like him. Martin Keimer. Grayson's at 53. Off the tee, it's Grayson. He's got some things. If he can get through, he's a good scorer. And we have seen him, play better golf this year. That's why he's in these tournaments. He was 10th at Wells Fargo last week, despite losing off the tee. Really bailed himself out with around the green and putting. That's more an exception than the rule. It hasn't been great before that. Obviously, going way back, he's had his moments, but I just think it's more of an unnecessary risk. If you have a lineup and you're like, I'm in love with this lineup, I love everything about it, and I just need one guy at 5,300, I think it would be Grayson. I don't think that that's something that I want to entertain, though, just looking at what we've got available. And that is about it, folks. This is not a range you want to get to. These are all guys that have basically no chance, and trying to hero call them is not worth your time. So I would cut it off around here. Make sure that you give yourself a reasonable angle for that. Before I bounce on out of here, I do want to mention, of course, if I didn't get to a player, just tweet me at JazzRazDFS. I am happy to help. Of course, if you're in our Discord, which is available with any package, whether it's OddsShopper on the betting side, just go to oddshopper.com, hop on in, or Stokastic. Again, these sims lineup generator, it is all available for you guys right here. You see Data Hub, contest generator, pre-contest, late swap, post-contest. All this is in the palm of your hands. But definitely let me know if there's anything I can do. Always happy to answer questions. I'm in Discord all the time and available on Twitter. I want to see someone win this Millie. I hope that person is me, and then we can all celebrate. But if it's not, I hope it's someone watching this video, because there's a lot of money up for grabs, and it's going to be a great tournament. If you have any questions, as I mentioned, hit me up there, and let's just have a great tournament. For me, for everyone here at Stokastic, shout out to Underdog as well. We're helping to power this show. Go sign up over there. That link is below. Take advantage of that 50% deposit match up to $250. And for the second major of the year, it's going to be a good one. Enjoy the golf. Enjoy the tournament. Good luck to everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon.